Takže to tu plánujeme to rozprúdiť. Oficiálne je 22.9.2024. Začneme plus minus 19.54, je 306, je to tak? Áno, 306 relaxačný tréningový deň, 22.9.2024, začneme 19.55. Dneska je nedeľa, takže najťažší súdok sa dáva. Dajú sa aj z hybožruty, aj glikožruty 3 série. Z hybožruty začneme 15, 15, 14, 14, 13, 13, predné, zadné, zadné, predné, predné, zadné. A glikožruty 100, 90 a 80. Ideme na to, ideme sa obrať vesty, ideme to rozprúdiť. Pozerám toho Tulsa Kinga, nie je to bohečo samozrejme, ale dá sa tie ťažké časy si dáme takú Tulsa Kinga. Budeme dať prvú sériu, prvé z hybožruty 15-15. Za chvíľu začali kšefty, nejaké fúšky. Takže prvých 15 zálev, ktorých som dal a klikožrutý stovku kliksterov. My sme vyťažení v jednom slede. A pozrieme sa, či tu nie sú nejaké píkačky si pustím, čo budú hovoriť. Ak si podají zbaviť sa tej reklamy z pičiny.
Being a Sigma comes with its own perks, but there are some things no one else but you understands. Sigma men are rare and complex, and they're not wired like your average guy. They live strictly by their own rules, and never compromise on their values for any reason. Though these men are independent and intelligent, they still face some issues that people simply don't understand. It's not about being strong or perfect. It's about constantly dealing with the fact that no one understands you. So if you're a Sigma, here are 12 unusual things that only you can really understand. 1. Not having many friends but feeling perfectly fine with that. While others may envy your freedom or feel sorry for you, Sigma males don't need many friends to feel fulfilled. You get true satisfaction from living life on your own terms, and having a few close friends is enough for you. Most people have this wrong idea about Sigma men. They think they're antisocial, and that's why they have so few friends. However, these men choose to have few not because they dislike people, but because they value quality over quantity. These guys are incredibly loyal and generous to their friends, but they don't want to waste their time with people who don't understand or judge them. Sigma males are fiercely independent, so they rarely let anyone control their lives or make decisions for them. They march to the beat of their own drums and do not rely on other people for validation. They are comfortable in solitude, enjoying their own company and using their alone time to recharge. While most people feel the need to constantly be around friends, Sigma men do not share that same social dependency. They don't see popularity as a measure of success or self-worth. They're not lonely because they spend time on their own. They are simply selective with whom they let into their small circle of friends. Sigma males surround themselves with few friends, but their friendship is real and deep. They avoid fake relationships and cling to the ones that really matter. The word friend is not taken lightly by these men. 2. Feeling stuck in a boring conversation and not knowing how to get out of it. You know that moment when you are stuck in a conversation and desperately trying to find an escape. But no matter how much your body language, facial expressions, or random interjections indicate that you want to stop talking, the other person keeps going on and on. This is especially true if the conversation is not interesting or meaningful for a Sigma. But the person just won't take a hint. Sigma men dislike shallow conversations and find it difficult to fake small talk, so they often feel trapped and frustrated in a boring conversation. It's not that these men don't like people, but they simply prefer meaningful conversations with those who can think on a higher level. They don't want to waste their time on trivial things like gossiping or discussing the weather. They want to be challenged and engaged in conversations that can elevate their mental state. So when they are stuck in a dull discussion, they feel like their time is being wasted, and it's difficult for them to find an escape route without appearing rude. Of course, this isn't always possible, especially if you are in a professional situation and must be polite. So it's best to prepare yourself in advance with some clever lines that can get you out of the conversation. 3. Overthinking things and situations without any real reason to do so. This introspective tendency can sometimes lead to overthinking, even when it's unnecessary. Sigma men are natural deep thinkers who really dive into concepts, examining them from every angle. But sometimes, this tendency can just go overboard. They can get stuck in the endless loop of questioning and hypothesizing, leading to overthinking even mundane situations. It's not that they're trying to be analytical or make things complicated, but their minds are so creative that they can't help it. Overthinking is a trait that comes naturally to these men, and it's something they have to force themselves to stop. It's like their minds are constantly running at high speed, and it takes a lot of effort to slow it down. That's why Sigma men need some alone time every day, so they can turn off their brains and relax. Otherwise, the endless loop of overthinking can be exhausting and overwhelm them with all the thoughts racing through their heads. While many people simply don't understand why these men need to overthink things, it's something that comes naturally to them, and they can't help it. It's like saying stop being creative. It's just not possible. 4. Always having to explain themselves. While Sigma men are fiercely independent and don't need anyone's approval, they still have to explain themselves more often than most people. Many of their decisions and opinions can seem strange or out of the box to the average person, so they always have to explain why they think or act the way they do. These men are also very opinionated and honest, so they often don't hesitate to express their true feelings, even when it's unpopular. This can sometimes create tension with people who don't understand them, and they have to take the time to explain themselves to avoid any misunderstandings. It's not that these men are trying to be difficult, but they simply think and act differently than most people. They don't always have to explain their decisions or opinions, but it's often necessary to avoid confusion or conflict. Explaining their motives and mindset becomes exhausting when nobody seems to truly understand their mentality. From their simple way of living to their strong beliefs, these men often raise eyebrows or a few questions. But no matter how frustrating it gets, they'll continue to try to explain their unique mindset without giving up, at least to the people who deserve it. 5. Being judged for who they are rather than what they do. Unlike alpha males who are all about external accomplishments, the Sigma male often gets unfairly judged for his unconventional personality. Instead of judging him by his contributions and talents, people tend to make assumptions about him based on surface-level factors. They may misconstrue his independence as arrogance, his lack of need for external validation as aloofness, or his introspective nature as being antisocial. Sigma men are often misunderstood by those around them because they tend to think and act differently than most. This can lead to misunderstandings and even ridicule at times, which is why these men have a hard time fitting into traditional social structures. They don't care about what others think of them, but it can still be difficult to navigate a world filled with people who have preconceived notions about their personality. This nonconformity makes others judge them as if their identity is somehow wrong or defective. Not many bother to dig deeper and truly appreciate the intellect, creativity, and compassion of Sigma. While this is a common issue for all independent thinkers, Sigma men often feel the scorn of judgment more acutely due to their unique combination of traits. Despite this challenge, they strive not to allow anyone's opinion to dictate who they are or what they do. They will keep living on their own terms, regardless of how others judge them. 6. Feeling like they don't fit in anywhere. If you're a Sigma, you likely already know that you're all about doing your own thing always. You don't like to be restricted or bound by rules or expectations, especially if they come from external sources. This is why Sigma men often feel like they don't fit in with the rest of society, because they simply don't want to conform to useless guidelines just because everyone else is doing it. It's not that they don't want to belong, but they simply refuse to be part of something that doesn't align with their values and beliefs. Sigma males are unique individuals who don't fit into the traditional molds of society. They are independent, strong-willed, and creative, qualities that can make them feel like outsiders. But even though they feel like outcasts at times, they take pride in their individuality and uniqueness. It's part of what makes them who they are. These men naturally possess a unique blend of traits that set them apart. They're an enigma that cannot be easily categorized or labeled. While this makes them free thinkers, it can also make them feel disconnected from the world at times. But that's okay. While many people need acceptance and approval from the outside world, Sigma men recognize that true self-worth comes from within. 7. Finding like-minded people is really hard. Sigma men have this unique way of seeing the world, which makes it super hard to find like-minded people. These men are hard to put into a box and usually don't fit into any of the usual categories. They are not alpha nor beta, but they possess qualities from both. They don't need to be the loudest or most dominant person in the room, nor do they want to be one of many sheep who just follow the herd. Sigma males are beyond that, which makes it challenging to find people who think and act like them. The Sigma personality is the rarest of all, so it's not surprising that they have trouble finding someone who understands them and can relate. But when two Sigma men meet, it's like an instant connection. They don't need to explain themselves and can even finish the sentences of their like-minded counterparts. It's like they know each other from a different lifetime. Finding such deep understanding and connection is rare but worth the effort for Sigmas. 8. Being the center of attention for too long is draining. While alpha males love and actively seek the spotlight, Sigma males find it exhausting. They don't like to be at the center of attention for too long because it drains their battery really fast. Although they are independent and have strong personalities, these men prefer to stay in the background and observe. They love talking and engaging in intellectual conversations, but become drained when it becomes a full-on social event. People may think Sigma males are aloof or standoffish, but they are simply introverted. They don't feel the need to be seen and heard all the time like alpha males do, so it's not unusual for them to stay silent in public events. They simply don't have the emotional energy to put up a show all the time. But that doesn't mean they are not present and engaged in what's happening around them. A Sigma will listen intently, contributing when necessary, and always thinking before they speak. 9. Finding it challenging to explain their thinking process to others. One of the biggest challenges these men face is trying to explain their thought process to others. Because this is often non-linear and highly nuanced, most people can't begin to understand how they arrive at their conclusions. This is why it's so hard for Sigmas to explain their ideas. because the other person simply doesn't have the same frame of reference. They don't have the same experiences and information that allows them to understand what they hear. It's like speaking two different languages. Not even Sigmas can keep up with the speed at which their thoughts come and go. They think faster than they can speak, which is why they are so easily misunderstood. It's not that they are trying to be mysterious or avoid conversation, but they simply don't have the words to accurately describe their thought process, let alone put it into a simple logical sequence that others can understand. No matter how hard they try to explain their point of view, it often gets met with confusion. They can't squeeze their unconventional wisdom into simple sound bites. The depth of their mindset becomes less clear when simplified for everyone to understand. 10. They don't like talking about themselves too much. Unlike most people who freely share everything about themselves with anyone, Sigma men are typically extremely private and reserved. They don't really need to chat about every little thing, only sharing their interests or experiences when necessary. They prefer to be selective about revealing personal information. Instead of sharing every detail of their lives, they choose a different topic. Unless they purposefully open up, these men don't feel the need to talk about their own life. They think being too self-centered is just plain boring. They'd rather hear about other people's interesting perspectives than talk about themselves. Sigma men believe in building real connections through engaging conversations, not hogging all the attention. They think that their true personality will shine as they build relationships, not through superficial self-promotion. They don't see the point in bragging or showing off, preferring a more humble and modest approach to life. 11. Feeling bored without something to challenge them intellectually. Many people find comfort and solace in familiarity and routine, but that's not the case for Sigma males. These men need new challenges to stay engaged in life, or they'll become bored quickly. Routine tasks just don't excite them enough. They are always looking for something new and stimulating to occupy their minds. It doesn't have to be something grand or extraordinary as long as it's different and arouses curiosity. They need to remain inspired in order to stay motivated. Sigma males are the type of people who would rather fail at something new than succeed in the same old thing. They have a natural curiosity and love to explore new ideas, no matter how crazy or unconventional they may seem. They are never satisfied with an easy solution and always look for the bigger picture. Their hunger for knowledge drives them to continuously push their boundaries, exploring the unknown and discovering life's hidden mysteries. 12. Feeling like no one else really understands them. Have you ever had the feeling that you're surrounded by people who just don't quite understand you? No matter how hard you try to explain yourself, it's like talking to a wall. This is really annoying and frustrating, especially when it's usually the people closest to you. Due to their introverted nature and unconventional thought process, they often feel like no one else really gets them. Most people can't even begin to comprehend what it's like to think the way they do or walk in their shoes. This feeling of not being understood is especially bitter when you don't have anyone who shares your values, interests, and passion for life. Being repeatedly misjudged and dismissed makes these guys a bit unwilling to open up. No matter how clearly they communicate, their essence seems lost on those unable to see beyond their own limited perspectives.
Goa. ...306. relaxačné tréningové deň je za nami. Bolo 22.9.2024, skončili sme 2014. Segment trval 19 minút a 19 minút a 40 sekúnd. To je pekné číslo, ne?